What's up guys, it is that Panagon. I'm here again with another video, and today we're going to be covering a lot of topics in this video concerning this Archipelago raid. I do want to say real quick that I should be uploading this on Thanksgiving Day, so you guys have a great Thanksgiving. That being said, there is a lot of stuff I do want to kind of cover as we go through this video and just talk about, because I think this Archipelago raid was actually extremely intense and it was crazy. So how we do start off here, you do see in the video, we were fighting these guys, we made a slight push, we saw that Rogue was on region, or on his region map, right? And we had been looking out for this. I especially had been. And the reason we caught them is because we literally were paying so much attention to his activity to try to catch this guy offline and make a really good push, because he was the absolute hurdle that we had to overcome. And Rogue was an absolute monster. And if you're watching this, Rogue, GG's, bro. I know he commented on my last video. You were an absolute beast, bro. It was a good fight with you. You were a monster. I will say, in defense of these guys, they were obviously fighting at a disadvantage given the fact that they were the Jade Legion. I will say, you know, left and right normally are like the hardest legions to play on. I mean, usually they're the stronger ones, you know, in all fairness, but they're the hardest to kind of perform on, at least in phase one, because obviously the advantage is up to like our Legion, for example, Crimson. If we want to make surprise pushes, we can, but Jade can't do the same thing. And the same thing applies for Gold on the other side of the map, how they got pushed. And you know, if Azure wanted to make night pushes on them or something, they couldn't do anything about that except for retaliate, you know. And this kind of puts you on the defensive, and you kind of have to be very attentive. Whereas, you know, the other Legion, if they don't want to push, they don't want to push. But your Legion as a whole has to watch for towers, and they're going to be like, it's much more of an exhausting aspect to be on that side. And this is also one thing that we're kind of trying to play at here by constantly placing towers and constantly making pushes every like you know, once a day or 2 times a day, and just trying to catch this dude offline. It's not only the fact that we are trying to catch him offline, it's also an exhaust factor where we're just trying to make sure that they're staying on their toes, that they're like just stuck kind of paying attention to us. And you know, this like will slowly take down on people's kind of mental, you know what I mean? Especially given brackets that we normally fight in, this might not be the norm for, you know, let's say G1, G2, G3, because they have quite a few whales, right? So if one whale is sleeping, there's usually one other one who can be awake. But I mean, in this case, you kind of see us here, right? And this Legion is mostly reliant on a player, you know, like ours, Big Daddy, and there was Tester who had really good gear. But otherwise, you know, we did have some other strong players, but nobody who could match up to the same kind of gear caliber. It's the same with Rogue and Crypt, right? If these two were not online, our rallies would absolutely smash their towers. And this is one key issue a lot of these like brackets that we fight in is they're so reliant on a few players that if their player is sleeping and ours is awake, a push is super easy, you know what I mean? And it makes it basically mission impossible to defend or go on the offensive until that player's awake. So like this makes you super reliant on a few players, and you literally cannot do anything when that guy's sleeping. Because in the case of us, we ended up making a push, and I think this is the push right here where we built another tower. We kind of pushed them again. Martin rallied for some reason, but basically Rogue was sleeping. We saw that he didn't show up to chainsaw zombies. I literally was paying attention to this guy, and the second I saw he didn't show up to one thing, I was like, guys, let's push. It was literally right after Chainsaw Zombies. I had watched him show up to every single event so far. He showed up to Scavengers. He showed up to the Chainsaw Zombies before that. That was the one fight he didn't show up to. And it was really weird because he didn't shield, and maybe it was just because he was confident. And realistically, we were not going to be able to zero him unless we had like extreme activity to fill rallies and stuff. And even then we would have to build closer to his base, which was up mid, and it was just kind of like complicated. And you know, Rogue is a big boy. He's like 400 million might, slamming into all of his troops and like zeroing them, especially in a bracket like this. Maybe if it was higher up with more competent rally captains, this would have been more manageable. But in this case, it didn't really make much sense, and we just weren't capable of doing it. So either way, he was safe realistically. I will say we do push them back quite a bit here, and obviously when Rogue wakes up, we do get pushed back ourselves. You know, we were just like incapable of really holding up against his rallies. I think they were just too strong, and then everybody else kind of would rally with him, and it would just make our trades extremely negative. So we kind of just played our time, and you will see it soon shortly. But what ends up happening is we do this like little strategy where we empty out when we see Rogue's rallies, and you know, we clear out the tower. Boom, we put more troops back into it to take the next rally, because we were just like, hey, let's maximize our trades as we get pushed back here and just do the best we can. You know, that's literally what we do, and we just try to make sure everything traded really well. I also want to say GG to these guys, because I don't know if you guys know how this works, but they actually had done a ploy where, we had built up mid, right? We kind of built through the checkpoint, the level 5 or whatever the checkpoint, right? And they basically left a few towers there. I'm pretty sure they told their players not to burn the towers, because basically how this works is if you don't destroy the towers, you don't demolish them yourselves, towers placed on the map, they're just a waste of cement, right? So if we had 10 towers built, maybe it costs us an extra 2,000 cement per tower, right? So us leaving these towers just built there and useless basically makes us waste cement. And I did try to tell the leaders to delete them, but I don't think like some of them like were even responsive or online, so I couldn't really do much about that. But it was a good play from their part, because they did make us waste cement. Potentially by having just towers there and stuff, so it was rough. Also, there is going to be one more video after this isn't the last video, this isn't all the footage. We did have the fight at mid and the counter offensive that we did again after that. This was our main push, and I honestly was so freaking happy this finally happened. It was like a light lit up in my head. I was like, thank everything, bro. We had been waiting for this moment. I wasn't sure if our like pushes were even going to work, because I was getting frustrated, and I was like, dude, this dude has been online 24/7 watching us like a hog. Every time we push, even if he's in region, he freaking recalls his gathers and he's on our butt, you know what I mean? But he finally was offline, and we were able to take make the best of it, and we managed to maximize on it. So honestly, that was rough, but we pulled it off. I will say, if the roles were reversed in this case, though, I am 99% sure we would be losing if we were, the Jade Legion. Though I will say, if we were Jade Legion, we probably would have, like, more manpower, because normally, like I said, I think Jade and Gold is normally, like, the stronger teams. There are, like, outliers where, like, one team might have a better whale, and that's, like, all you need to win, you know what I mean? But normally, these teams are stronger, which is why a lot of these, like, pushes usually fail, or people just don't attempt them in the first place. Normally people don't just don't attempt them. And in our case, we were actually weaker. I definitely think we were the weaker Legion, even if it was just slightly, especially like due to whale power. But, we were able to just maximize on the scheduling, like, sleep schedules, because whales can't be online all the time, so we were able to just maximize on that, try to maximize our trades, get the best value possible, get some bases zeroed. We did get some of our own bases zeroed, which was it was crazy. I had one of my players, and I almost crashed out, because this dude got zeroed, and he was just filling a tower, right? He was literally just online, apparently got called, and he was like, bro, my game crashed. He said he got a call and his game crashed. I was like, bro, you gotta be kidding me, man. Like, I literally was about to burn you myself, buddy. But really, this really was one of my better fights in quite a while. I really enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed these intense type of archipelago raids, island raids, whatever the case, where just like it forces you to like maximize your potential, right? Like, think the best you can. You do see here that Rogue woke up, though. We do go in on this tower for quite a bit. They do build up another tower, so they're able to get more teleports in, meaning more reinforcements and stuff. We do try to put maximum manpower in on this thing to try to just do some heavy damage and hopefully burn it and like drop them before they start getting more active, because obviously these guys were just inactive. They were like, all right, well, since Rogue is not online, we're gonna let these guys push us back until Rogue wakes up. That's kind of the understanding I got from this. And they were kind of covering the field, right? We didn't have like a ton of like hospital room. A lot of our fighters had already exhausted themselves, especially for my team. Like, we were just absolutely exhausted. Didn't have the resources or anything to keep healing. We were just on our last leg. So a lot of our stuff was just sitting rallies and hoping get hit. You know what I mean? So we did put in some good damage here, even while Rogue is here. But one issue that we start facing is we don't have the, field power right now. We don't have the ability to kind of push the field. So even reinforcing these rallies starts to become a pain, because we can't get troops in. We can't push the field and stop them from holding us to, get reinforcements. And I mean, you see us fighting a bit here, but we're just absolutely outnumbered, outmanned, outwilled. You know what I mean? And it's just really rough. So we do put in some good damage for a little bit, but at some point they start going on the offensive, and we just can't really manage it. We stopped going on the offensive ourselves, which I think was a big mistake given the damage we were putting in right now. We needed to keep rolling this momentum, because if we stopped, it was over, you know what I mean? Which it ended up becoming like game over at some point. They were using an expansion as well to make sure that their troops in the tower kind of like I don't know if you guys know how the alliance goal works, but it goes from like 2 million troops to 2.2 million, maybe 2.4. I think it's just 2.2 though. And you can like basically send in an extra like march or two in that tower. So it just makes it where your tower is able to trade a little bit better, and it's easier to fill it or whatever the case. Which, obviously makes our job harder. But you do see here, we get some good reports in, and eventually I think they get their second tower down to get more teleport spots, and we just kind of like, I think we kind of just roll over and give up at some point. And they push us. We just do the little strategy I was telling you guys about, trying to maximize our trades by emptying it with when rogues or rally hit. We would like Techie, Shodan or whatever. We would let his rally hit. We would hit like some of these other rally captains kind of run in. And I do want to say, we tried range garrisons in the past, Big Daddies, right? And I don't know why we never tried Lewis and Victor, but we tried it this time and it was insane because normally I don't know, we tried Jacob and Victor, right? And it was just an absolute show. So we didn't really try it anymore. But we tried Lewis and Victor. I think it was just kind of like, oh, let's test it. Let's see how this performs. Bro, this was absolutely insane. Even just taking on multiple rallies. I know this should have been something we thought of. I do want to try Lewis and Jacob and see if that performs any better. As long as your team's able to properly keep fully in range in the tower, I think it might perform better. But once your towers are struggling, because range is obviously much harder to keep full, even as a garrison, it's much harder to kind of keep topped off just because it's so much squishier. At some point, it might be better to swap off back to Lewis and Victor just for the all troop buff. But I mean, you do see here some of these swarms came in. I think they thought, oh, it's Lewis, it's going to be an easy swarm. They tried swarming this the first time around. I think they understood, oh hell no, it's it's not working. I also want to say Big Daddy, he's a really heavy range focus, so this actually performs better than our infantry garrisons, for example, probably due to that as well. His workshop is so much more focused on it because he's always tried to have he's always tried to have a really good rally compared to defense, you know what I mean? Which, I mean, a good offense is a good defense. That's kind of how I think of it. But you do see here some of these hits are killer. I mean, even the damage here on some of these rallies is gonna be absolutely nuts. And I kind of think of this when I actually see counter rallies come in on our rallies on a tower or something. A lot of the time, if it's not a whale rallying us, a lot of the time our trades will be 1-for-1. I don't know if you guys have ever had that, or if you've ever noticed that with a whale. Your trades can sometimes be 1-to-1 on these counter rallies that are hitting a rally. It's just because the person rallying is so strong, their gear is so much kind of insane, that's impossible to beat that out. Also, you see us try to rally here. They were smart enough to swarm out this weaker range rally. I think they noticed the only rallies that really could do heavy damage was Tester and Big Daddy. They just had Tester had really good gear, he had some nutty infantry, but they even swarm his infantry rally out here because the double well swarm's still too much for us. We can't really manage it, and they do have a counter rally kind of come in there, and we don't manage to drop the tower. So we start jumping back, and we keep backing up towers until they kind of stop pushing us, and just trying to milk these as long as possible, which, I mean, you even see here, this range rally, we do get a lot of AoE hits in as well. I do want to mention that. This is something that I freaking love to maximize on. I feel like they kind of got used to trying to sit over our towers and stuff, and a lot of them were just eating tons of area of effect damage, which, ultimately, it does actually, it minimizes your, it minimizes your loss in the actual rally, since, someone like Lewis, his skill damage goes down the more targets he hits. But realistically, our overall damage goes up because you just have so many solo marches just sitting around here getting slapped by the area of effect damage, which, that hurts. That hurts. But you will see here, these range garrisons were doing really well. But it's super annoying to try to run range garrisons because then going on the offensive actually becomes harder because you have less range units. Plus, actually holding up the garrison itself against multiple rallies is super hard just because range melts really quickly. It does melt the enemy really quickly, and this is actually something we were also trying to maximize on by using a range garrison. Because if these guys were like, hey, let's set another rally real quick, so these like Rogue, for example, or even Crypt, if they were like, all right, let's set a rally, these guys, their rally's kind of hitting this tower still, but you don't want them to lose too many troops, and they do that. Basically, we're trying to use this range garrison to maximize our damage in a short period of time, drop these rallies ASAP, so we're able to kind of get out of the tower really quickly. Whereas if we used Ragoro, it's unlikely that the rally would have died, you know what I mean, within that period of time before the next rally kind of would come in, or kind of force us to jump out of the tower, which, like I said, it's something that we were also trying to take advantage of using this in this case. And I mean, you do see here the damage is just insane. I freaking loved. I love playing like a little rat though. It's my favorite. It's my favorite, dude. But I will give it to this Legion either way. This tug of war was absolutely insane. We'll have another video that comes out, kind of just showing our mid fight, and we do end up pushing with our allies gold. We kind of wait for gold to eventually push back Azure, which was kind of what we were waiting on. And then once gold came up and were able to kind of assist us, you know, we were able to kind of maximize on that. Plus, we actually did push before gold, reached and was able to like fully support us because Rogue ends up sleeping. And I thought he was going to do like an all-nighter, so I was worried about how the fight would go. But I can't tell if he just was like, all right, we've lost this fight. Maybe he just didn't like want to keep pushing, or maybe he just was like, hey, I got to go to sleep. I can't stay up all night fighting this out. So he did end up going to sleep, and we were able to just kind of push them on their flank again. And, you know, they just really weren't able to do anything. And honestly, it was really to our advantage that Rogue and Crypt went to sleep at the exact same time every single night, because we were able to just like avoid having any whales really being able to put like a, you know, counter push on us, which was absolutely perfect for us. Either way, that was really it to this kind of part of the Archipelago raid. It was a really good fight, like I said. I know I keep repeating that, but this was honestly great. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it too, watching this video. And I do appreciate, you know, I appreciate our enemies for giving us a really good fight as well. So I do hope you guys have a great day or night, though. If you enjoyed the video, drop a comment and let me know. Appreciate you all. You guys have a great day or night, though. Have a good Thanksgiving. And that is about it. Peace out.